Vendetta movies are entertaining for a couple of reasons. They have a cause that connects, or they have a star actor at the center who gets a chance to let loose and keeps you totally entertained. Usually, director Shankar is the master of these movies. His films like Anni and Indian have a protagonist fighting against systemic corruption, which many amongst the audience would be able to connect with, and it also has protagonists who are so entertaining that even when the cause gets a little tiring, they keep you watching. The movie we are going to talk about today is a wannabe revenge thriller. The movie opens with a man cajoling a girl into having sex with him, and Selvaraghavan appears out of nowhere and kills this guy. We later find out that Selva is spending his days singing God's praise in temples while also trying to get closer to some people. The agenda is obvious that he wants to kill them once he gets to them. In a parallel track, Natti is a retired army officer, currently a YouTube content creator. His niece dies, and upon investigation, it comes to light that she had been exploited sexually and later blackmailed, which led to her eventual demise. How do these plots connect, and why is Selva on a killing spree forms the rest of the story. Let's quickly go through the positives. I was pleasantly surprised by the performance of K. Rajan, who plays Selva's father in the movie. Of all the victims in this movie, he is the only one we connect with and feel sorry for. And he does a good job of evoking empathy. Sam CS does his best to add a gritty layer to the proceedings with his music, especially in the build-up before and during the killings, and the already popular Enna Pannallava and Anandam Kutharam songs are quite beautiful in the movie. And that's pretty much it for the positives. Moving on to where the movie lets us down, let's start with Selva. The actor has a unique presence and body language which is tailor-made for some roles. He seemed like a good fit for his role in Beast. Dry sarcasm with a hint of detached observation is his thriving zone. In Bakasuran though, he's asked to be extremely angry, helpless, shows simmering vengeance that he's on a ruthless killing spree. When these things come together on screen, we should be seeing a volcano erupt, but we barely see the faint sizzle of a hot pan. We don't see a showy actor either. I'll go back to Onion, where the juiciest of the scenes is when Vikram switches between his personalities in a single shot. Of course, that particular scene had little to do with the actual murders happening in the movie, but it was still so good and so entertaining, and we don't have any of that here. The next issue is that the movie takes a very old story and uses an even older style to present it. Show and tell is a crime in cinema. As in, you show something and then having your characters talk about it without adding anything is just redundant and boring. In Bakasuran, even the most uninteresting aspect gets repeated so many times. There is a murder victim, and Natti asks the inspector the victim's height. The inspector asks the constable. The constable responds, which the inspector relays back to Natti, and the worst part, all three people are in the same frame within hearing distance. Another scene where someone gets a bad news over the phone, he repeats it to himself, and then to the person next to him, and then the person repeats it in shock, and then they all go to the spot where the actual scene happened. I mean, there are so many awkwardly staged scenes where the actors are all standing in a single frame, fidgeting or fixing their hair, and just going through the dialogues. Do we really have to pad the runtime? Because these scenes have literally no other purpose. But my biggest problem with the movie is its core ideology. Selva's daughter wants to go to Chennai for her PG, but her dad suggests that she stay closer to home because big city Chennai is bad. There's a fantastic mockery of this line of thinking in the recent movie Jai 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 Hey. Anyway, her hostel security records her kissing her fiancé, and using this video, he blackmails her warden blackmails her professor blackmails her, and finally her correspondent. Again, exhausting repetition. And all through this, the girl doesn't think that maybe it would be better to come clean and own up, but instead goes along with every single demand. We see a similar scenario in the movie Edarkum Tunindavan. The heroine declares that it is her in a sexual video, but it was recorded without her consent and she has nothing to be ashamed about. There is only one person in Bakasuran who says that let's go to the police and let's face it. After all, a video of her kissing her fiancé is no big deal. But he is quickly silenced. This movie celebrates age-old values which do not encourage progress and plays up horrible stereotypes. Like, how do we know a woman is bad? Because she wears sleeveless and has short-colored hair. How innocent is a girl from a village? So innocent that she agrees to do online prostitution for her boyfriend because he promised to marry her. Now, I'm not saying these are not valid or real threats because they are. But what stand is the movie taking with respect to it? Are you empowering the victims with education and courage to face it, or do you try to protect them and hinder their development and growth, and still fail to protect them? Movies like Ayali, Jai 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 Hey, The Great Indian Kitchen belong to the first category. while Bakasuran falls definitely in the second. That brings us to the end of this review. Do let me know in the comments your thoughts on the movie. And until next time, it is bye from Cinema Saki. Keep watching cinema, keep loving cinema. Bye.